one thing I love, what anybody loves, is a good story, right? This building behind me that you can see, I actually just delivered to, is one of the most historic buildings, in the city, right? And now, if you're from the area, you might remember this building being a hub for a lot of homeless people. Slept on these steps, right? And you gotta do what you gotta do, right? But they really turned this building around. You can see it just from the outside, the grounds. But I had the pleasure of delivering here and actually seeing at least part of the inside, just the basement. And just seeing how much they've changed, this building and what it's becoming, right? Hands are ashy. It's a regular thing. But one thing I didn't know was the biggest, what do you say? The biggest post office robbery in US history took place in this building. That's nuts. I believe he said 1911. So I'm definitely going to do some research on that one, learn up on that. But yeah, that's extremely interesting. Again, that's what I love about being able to explore, discover, and hear great stories. And meet some cool ass people too. That's I'm very, for the most part, I'm pretty introverted, so this definitely gets me out of my shell. So, it's the little things. You gotta be careful on these country roads because, obviously you see it's a 2-lane road. Not much you can do, honestly, just kind of pull up into one lane and offload your freight. Of course, you can't really back down anybody's driveway, so especially if it's a small driveway, so do what you gotta do. Good old dirt roads, baby. Gotta love it. So one thing I've learned doing this job is that it requires a lot of creative thinking. Knowing how to, and one thing my trainer actually taught me is knowing how to get yourself out of a situation. Like, if you go into a situation, make sure you can get out of it, right? Great advice. Definitely has played itself out quite a bit. But the communication isn't always that great in this industry, right? simply because of many reasons. Sometimes there's just too many moving parts. So it sometimes it just doesn't, work out the way you would like it to. A lot of times you really can't do anything about that. But the point I'm making is, sometimes you don't have all the information that you need. Say, for instance, today, there's a there's a delivery that it goes to a storage unit. So you literally have to call, and you have to call. You have to give them 30 minutes to get there, and yeah. So of course, on the bill, there's no phone number. There's no there's nothing. It doesn't even say call 30 minutes ahead. I mean, if there's no phone number, then like you can't call 30 minutes ahead. It's not going to happen. But yeah, so luckily, I ran into a situation where this is a place that I've been to before. This company I've dealt with before, and I actually had to search through my entire call log to look for, this company's number. Luckily, I found it. Luckily, I was able to get a hold of them, and luckily, everything's all good. But the point is, you got to be prepared for that. The communication isn't always that great, and I think I believe it's an industry-wide thing, right? Simply because, again, like I said, sometimes there's just too many moving parts. It just is what it is. So some would be prepared for it. Look, I get it. We all got somewhere to go. But if you can only go 60, 63, whatever, wherever the case, wait till traffic clears up in the left lane before you try to go around somebody going slower than you. Because all you're going to do is just hold up traffic. I know me, I always try to make sure traffic clears up, before I go around. But not everybody does that, unfortunately.